We go. My second screen recording. I actually recorded this just a second ago and forgot to add audio. Anyways, so yesterday or this week, I was working with some designers at work, trying to like pass back and forth files and uh, sketch files. And I was working at 1x on an iPhone 5 screen size, and I sent someone some components I'd made, and they were designing at 2x on an iPhone 6 screen size. So basically, our entire workflow broke, or at least it would have just been a giant. Shit, my contact. Giant pain in the ass to resize everything and respec everything. So I kept thinking, like this workflow is very obviously broken. I know people are trying to figure out constraints in Sketch, but it's a really hard problem, especially with vertical flow of like between symbols or whatever you might be using. So I feel like we're ways out on that. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, the answer would be just design everything in Xcode. Don't feel like I'm quite there, like many people. So anyways, I settled for what I knew, and so I built something here that I want to show you and get feedback on. So let's jump in. Cool. So I built this little web app. Basically, what it does is it takes a JavaScript object over here, and it just will construct a UI from what's here. So I'm gonna I'll hit run here, and you'll notice I built like a little iPhone 5 screen size UI. It's standard components, HTML and CSS, nothing super fancy. So it's all interactive and you can play around. And I haven't gone too crazy, but it works. Like grabbing time and stuff. But since it's all just HTML and CSS, you can do a lot of cool stuff. So for example, if I want to test some accessibility settings like font size, I could just kind of play around with that and reflow the document right away with like some small font size or regular. I can adjust the screen size pretty easily. So here's an iPhone 6. Here's an iPhone 6 Plus. Obviously, there's some bugs going on in there, but it works and it's super easy to change any of these measurements. Uh, and then I realized, some of these things are really perfectly mapped to what the material spec has. So this is just a table view header. This is a table view, and these are cells with some titles and subtitles and toggles and description text. It's nothing super unique to the platform. So you can just come over here and switch to material, and it's going to give you a nice material spec view. We change our checkboxes. You can do some cool stuff with like Ripple interaction. So all that stuff will work. I can see what this would look like maybe on a bigger Android screen, but this is kind of the default, like 360, 640. Same thing here, like double check that your font sizes are gonna scale nicely. And the cool thing is I can just come in here and like jump straight into code and say this is a view header and just hit run, and it's gonna update my DOM and make a really nice UI that's quick to edit, quick to change. It's just HTML and CSS. If I wanted to customize any of these components, that's doable. So yeah, that's it. It feels a little more like a technical demo right now, I guess. But I think if you play this out, is since all of these are just objects, you could have a UI on top of this, right? So I could just have a little thing that says add a nav bar, type in the text, choose an action for back, choose a color, go through and add some table cells with different properties in a more visual way. And you could drag and drop to reorder them. Going a little bit further is you could just wrap all this up into a URL. So I could say like this is a project whatever, and I could send this to someone. It would just open the same view. So I could build a UI, test it, and then I could send it to an engineer or someone else on the team, and they could play around and test it in their browser. It's going to work anywhere. Maybe if they open it on their phone, they're going to get a really nice representation of how it'll actually look. Probably not totally how it'll feel since it's just HTML and CSS. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, that's it. Um, the more adventurous coders probably are thinking like, how could you map these things to production APIs and like map this to, actual Swift or Objective-C object for a table view or something like that, and hook it up to your own APIs and pre-fill data. Like it's not hard to think about what this would be like. You type in some like a token and a key to any service you're using and just grab data, like build your own profiles or emulate a user or anything like that. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I would love feedback from everyone. Some folks have said this doesn't seem like something they'd use. That's totally cool. Please just say it. Uh, it's obviously very early, but if this seems interesting and something that you might enjoy playing around with, then I'll keep spending more time on it. But give me feedback in the meantime. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for watching.